Guess what? You're not triggered. You just need to feel your feelings. If you're willing to play full out and accept the possibility of what I'm offering up here in this space, it could be the end of your triggers forever. Yeah. The prosperity you're looking for, it doesn't live in old structures, old ideas, old beliefs. If it did, your life would be flowing with it right now. Prosperity would be your norm, your default. And it certainly doesn't live in the spiritual traps we've all bought into, most of which conflict and directly contrast more than clarify the truth that we are all one. These are shiny, bedazzled, repackaged, mostly spiritual, fluffy teachings, largely misunderstood, that promise freedom, but they still leave us hustling for crumbs of prosperity, of validation, of approval, of acceptance, and with very little to show for it, except a lot of frustration, more confusion, and more double-mindedness about what actually does work. So maybe, up until now, you've been living as a role instead of a soul. Your 1.0 version of self versus a 2.0. The fully realized, fully conscious, fully intentional being living through a soul-directed home frequency. Let's just say you inherited a script, one that you actually created for yourself, based on what you were shown, based on what you had modeled for you. Based on that, you put on a costume, you wore a mask, probably several. You auditioned for approval, for acceptance, for validation, for survival points. You learned, erroneously, that love is transactional. That if you show up a certain way, you'll get it, maybe. And at some point, you confused that whole act with who I am, your identity. It was mostly, if not completely, unconscious, a reflex of feeling and thinking it was unsafe to be you, expressing who you truly are. But in that version of you, I call it your 1.0, the growth you think you've been choosing is actually what's gatekeeping your growth, your prosperity. It's largely hidden from you, not by life, not by other people, but by all the feelings you refuse to still acknowledge, dissolve, and digest. So from that version, all your growth is just safe enough to keep your old identity intact. It's just safe enough that you never risk letting it completely die. Which means all of your new growth, you're asking if it's okay for that 1.0 version of yourself. Guess what? It isn't. Or you'd have the progress and the expansion that you desire so much right now. So this means you're what I call your new human, your 2.0. The you that lives consciously in peace, purpose, power, will always feel just out of reach, dangling like a carrot on the spiritual path that you've been chasing for years. And you may be noticing my velvet hammer style. I like to keep it real, no fluff, no bullshit, because at this point, after about a quarter of a century of being a spiritual mentor, I'm only interested in what works for my clients. So that means no fluff, no bullshit, no endlessly repackaged, recycled, rebranded, fluffy spiritual teaching that doesn't actually take you where you want to go. So I'm 𝐻𝐢𝐻𝐿, and I am not your love and light mentor. And if you're game, let's keep going. And if you like this content, please let me know by hitting the like button. You want to hear more? Please let me know by subscribing to this channel. It helps me, it helps the algorithm help my channel, and it helps other fearless explorers like yourself find my content and benefit from it. Thank you. I appreciate it. So, if you're game, let's keep going. As far as your 1.0 version of you is concerned, when something happens and you think it causes you to feel angry, fearful, or sad, you love to say, "I'm triggered." But the moment itself isn't doing that to you. Nothing can do anything to you. Nothing can make you do anything. Neither can a person, an event, or a circumstance. What's showing up, they're just mirrors. They're showing you the next layer of feelings, waiting to be met, acknowledged, witnessed, dissolved, and loved back into infinite possibility, which is all that which you are when you recognize you are one with all. So what you keep calling patterns, or your triggers, they're really just unresolved emotions knocking at the door. They don't go away because you cleverly and sneakily, try to out-manifest them with another mantra, another quick ritual. They dissolve when you finally acknowledge and feel them. This is an incredibly human enterprise that we are at cause with here in this 3D matrix reality. Bypassing it, and you've done it a lot, hasn't gotten you to where you want to be. Otherwise, you wouldn't even be listening to me right now. You wouldn't have found this channel. So here's what about 99.99999% of people who come to work with me, who come to me for my help, here's what they don't quite get until we start working together. That every time you reach for something new, every time you reach for more of what you prefer to experience, the thing your soul actually wants, your 1.0 identity throws up a wall. It whispers or sometimes screams and yells and throws a tantrum. It's not working. What's wrong with me? I started making progress. Now everything is getting worse. Well, those are judgments, not facts. That's not the truth. That's the backlog of unwitnessed feelings surfacing, waiting for you to finally stop skipping class in your own emotional school. This isn't about chasing higher vibes. It never was. It's not about bypassing your pain with affirmations. It's about digesting what's really there. What's always been there. Those little ones who got frozen in time when confronted with feelings too big for her or him to feel. They created that script because in order to explain your way out of those uncomfortable feelings, out of those moments of discomfort, it was easy and convenient for you to gather some ideas, some beliefs about who you are, so you could assume an identity that felt safer, allowed you to move through life with a little more protection. But it was never you. When you can digest what's really there, you'll stop mistaking survival mode for growth. Because the moment you stop running from your feelings, those little ones frozen in time with feelings she or he felt too big were to confront or sit with or dissolve. You've been running from them ever since, and guess what? Those parts of you don't go away. They get in the driver's seat of your life. And when you acknowledge, accept, and honor, and work with this, you'll realize you were never triggered at all. That there are no patterns even. There's just you in moments where you're reaching for the next best, most preferred thing, coming face to face with the wedge you drove in between you and that which you want. From all those beliefs, ideas, and what you think you believe you know about you and about life that were never true. And they're all rooted in the feelings you still don't want to feel. But when you come back home, just like you're being called back home now, back into presence, back into flow, liberated by your presence, you come into communion with all that which you are, your oneness. Nothing is bigger than that. Not even those feelings that cause so much discomfort. When you come back into the arms of love, of power, peace, and prosperity, just as your infinite self intended, you realize this was what was always meant to be, and I was the only one ever gatekeeping it. This is the work that I do. This is what I offer in Liberate Flow 2.0. We've already started. We started on the 23rd of September. But you're welcome to join us anytime. It's your roadmap out of the trap you built for yourself, out of the script that you wrote with an old identity that you were designed to transcend. And when you decide to join us, you'll be most welcome, not only in the program. We meet on Zoom calls every Tuesday, 1:30 p.m. Pacific time, but you get 2 months access to my private community on School, New Human Blueprint, with a whole host of calls, guided journeys that help you to and be supported in all the transformation that's available to you in Liberate Flow 2.0. If this met your soul with some comfort, some light, some remembrance today, let me know. Drop a comment, leave a like, subscribe to this channel. And I want to thank you so much. I appreciate you all. Lots of love, and bye for now.